Hello there, YouTube. Spring is finally taking hold in the city. Take a look. We're finally seeing green. Smoking my no-name, my grandfather's no-name, with some fire dance flake. I'm almost done with the sample, and I still cannot decide if I'd buy a tin or not. I sort of like the pouch note, well, the tin note, but there's something that is putting me off. Anyways, before this pipe starts gurgling too much. This video is hopefully the first of the series of videos of me answering the 100 subscribers giveaway questions that were asked by the giveaway participants. I won't answer them in chronological order, so get what you get. And I'm actually starting at the end, the last question that I registered. Question by CJ Conneally. He referred to it as the Matrix question. If you remember the scene in the first Matrix where Neo is meeting Morpheus for the first time, and Morpheus produces two pills, a red one and a blue one, and asks him to take one pill. As Morpheus puts it, you take the blue pill, you wake up in your bed, forget the whole experience. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. So CJ's question was, which pill do I take? You know, this episode always reminds me about two short stories that I read. You probably have read them as well. One of them is a classic. So I'll spoil them both for you before I go further. The first one is a classical short story by Herbert Wells, published in 1911, I think. It's called The Door in the Wall, about a boy who, by some happy accident, finds essentially a door to paradise, some heavenly garden full of beautiful, angelic people, where he is playing and everyone is accepting him and he's very happy there. But he is abruptly ejected from this garden. No one believes him. Everyone wants him to go on with his normal life, and he does. He gets his education, he's making a career, climbing a social ladder, ends up, I think, in the cabinet of ministers or in the parliament, some political position. And throughout his life, he, time and time again, he sees the same door in the wall, and he always wants to go in, to go back to the heavenly garden, and but he is always either in a hurry or wants to meet someone, so he never does. And he's becoming more and more anxious and upset by the fact that he is not able to go to the garden. And he ends up, well, being a grown man and a minister, he ends up going to the city, through the city streets at night, looking for the door. And he eventually, by mistake, goes through the door that leads to the construction site, falls into the ditch and dies. The second short story is a story by Stephen King, 1984. Year I was born, by the way. It's called Mrs. Todd's Shortcut. About, unsurprisingly, Mrs. Todd. Woman in her 30s, I think. Husband, stable life, social work, but she is obsessed with driving her car, her Mercedes, around the state and finding road shortcuts between different towns. So eventually the narrator implies that she's finding quicker and quicker ways to get from point A to point B. And she eventually, by making consecutive turns or by reaching certain speed, finds, essentially, opens the gate to the alternate dimension, which is described as a pretty hostile place. The narrator takes the ride with her and is just scared out of his mind, because the plant life is reaching out to him. He sees different critters or creatures, so he's very afraid. But Mrs. Todd, nevertheless, proceeds to find shorter and shorter ways, and for example, getting from one town to another takes her, less time than a bird would fly from town to town in a straight line. And all the while doing so, she's getting more vigorous and appears younger. And she's very happy with that, and she eventually, stays there. She leaves this world entirely and takes the narrator with her. That's not the point. My point is, these two short stories are very similar to the choice Neo is presented with in The Matrix. Choice between the day-to-day rational world and essentially a miracle. Something completely out of this world. Maybe dangerous, maybe hostile, but nevertheless miraculous. So choosing between the character of Herbert Wells and Mrs. Todd from the Stephen King story, I'd rather be Mrs. Todd. I'm simply too curious. I think there are a lot of people who sympathize with the Herbert Wells story and feel like they are presented with a choice between rational and irrational, miraculous and day-to-day rational life. Some people actually claim that the guy in the Herbert Wells story indeed found his heavenly garden, and what people found in the ditch was his, mortal shell. I think that's a load of shit. The character was, throughout his life, presented with a choice, with an opportunity. Mind you, an opportunity to be in a heavenly place, not in hostile alternate dimension. And he doesn't have a blind choice, like the choice that Neo makes. He doesn't know what. We know he has the whole, awakening revolution and murdering robots in front of him in the future. He doesn't know. He is simply choosing something. So I cannot sympathize with a person that is rejecting a miracle and is hating himself for rejecting it. That's just self-pity. So choosing between the blue pill and the red pill, the red pill all the way. Of course, another big question is, am I lying to you people and to myself saying this? Because I'm not Neo or Mrs. Todd. She, as far as I get from the story, she's bored of her life. Neo is bored of his life, and I have an interesting life. More than that, I have a family, I have obligations. So whatever I say to you right now, it may not correspond with the choice I will make if I'm presented with an opportunity. But the way I'm feeling genuinely in life, I'd rather choose a miracle. Well, at least if I, stop making videos and disappear from social media, there's a version for you. Maybe I found my door on the wall or my road shortcut. Well, anyways, I think I'm rambling. Yeah, thank you very much for watching this. Hopefully it was somewhat interesting. I'll be back in the evening with my giveaway draw. Hopefully. I'm pretty sure I will be able to pull this off before the day is over. Until then, I wish you happy Wednesday, and I hope to see you soon. See you.